Yo, good day. This is Dion Falange, and I have a very interesting topic I want to discuss. Uh, I have a very interesting topic I want to discuss with you today. A little bit, uh, uh, it's I won't say it's a little bit disturbing, but it's something that we need to discuss. Uh, for us, especially mankind globally, to discuss this because it did somehow disturb me, myself personally. Okay, my best country, South Africa, and born in Johannesburg, you know, raised a little bit in other places in Pumalanga, then moved this side, Pretoria, staying in Pretoria full time. And then the thing is, I'm watching now. I was watching on my phone now this morning. I'm watching newspaper. We've got a local newspaper here in Pretoria where I stay, the area I stay, Garden Park. It's called Record, you see. And I'm seeing on Heritage what happened, that there was some group of people who decided to go to Paul Kruger Square and go and protest that they want the statue of Paul Kruger Square removed. Say no, it's reminding them of apartheid era. And I don't even, because some of the people, I don't even think they did study history very well to understand that what happened, who is Paul Kruger, how was Paul Kruger got into South, how did he come to South Africa, and how did he participate in South Africa being South Africa today. Some people, they don't understand, they just go with the flow. Someone gives them the boards and say let's go and protest, they do that. First, I'm going to tell you something. For the world to be what it is today, we have this book, we call it Human Rights Book. Ne? For the world to be what it is today, it's because a lot of people, mankind globally, they went through hardship. Not just in South Africa because of apartheid, not in America because of slavery. For these human rights to be alive, what we call United Nations to be alive, first there had to be World War One, World War Two. The world was shaken. Other places here in Africa, people, I'm sure they were sitting nicely in their in with their tribes, eating meat during those World War. When people were dying in Europe, it was bad. Nuclear bombs in Japan, people were dying, it was bad. Some people here in their tribes and their kings were dancing, eating meat, it was nice. And then after that, it came a time where United Nations had to, people had to form a United Nation when they saw that, hey, this soon is going to affect the whole world very soon. You see, so for you to understand that there were people who ran away in their countries in Europe, some as refugees, and that came to Africa, and the kings of Africa did welcome them. They didn't come here at war, started throwing bombs in Africa. They accepted them, gave them lands. You know, baby Paul Kruger's ancestors, they gave them lands and say, come sit with us, stay with us, and that. It's just that it might have started having differences when other Africans saw that, hey, these European people, you know, they come with things that we don't know, making tall buildings that African people never saw. And then they started being interested. And then obviously, every culture has got a way of disciplining people. Maybe the kings that time, when they discipline someone, they used to chain him on a tree the whole day. And then for the people, when they went to the big city, when they got in trouble with the law, maybe that's when they built a jail system that they were not used to. And then the family in their tribes, somewhere in the bushes, somewhere in Limpopo, where they were surprised, say, our brother didn't come back home for a long time. Why? But meanwhile, maybe he got in trouble in the city and he was jailed for a little time. And then those, we understand that they were white people who exploited their power by that time. And then we might understand, not all of them, some of them. But you need to understand that for us to be where we are, to say, hey, today there's human rights. It's because two world war passed. If there was not because of two world war, we're not gonna have the United Nations and the Human Rights book. We're never gonna have this book, Human Rights and the World War II. For us today to say South Africa is a free country, it's got democracy. There was someone called Nelson Mandela, who he is in this book of human rights. If you look at the book of human rights at the back, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and Martin Luther King, it's few of them, Thomas Jefferson, both all these people, for them to go into this book, it's because something had to happen and they had to stand up for it. You see, if people like Paul Kruger's ancestors never came to Africa, and that we were never gonna have, some of us were never gonna know Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela could have grew up where he was, maybe if in the bushes, in the bushes, and his tribe with their king there. And then here in Pretoria here, maybe it's gonna be another tribe with their king. It was just gonna be like that. We're just gonna be tribes like that. Maybe you're never even gonna know each other with this technology. I'm talking to you, this artificial technology. We were never gonna know each other until today. But now when you're telling me that you want to remove Paul Kruger Square, you're hurting my feelings. I've got a son in the USA, in America. My son, when I comes here and I want to teach him about the timeline, history timeline of South Africa, to tell him that, fly him to Cape Town and show him that when people from Europe landed, they landed in Cape Town on boats. There was no flight by that time. And then when they landed on boats, there was Jan van Riebeeck. Here's Jan van Riebeeck's statue. Take my time through timeline, to show that some use oxes and horses to travel through up to the countries. And then Paul Kruger's ancestors settled in Pretoria. They're the one who built Pretoria town. Honestly speaking, even if you try and say you're gonna replace Paul Kruger with someone else, that person never built Paul Kruger town or the city of Paul Kruger. But let's just be honest. We might say, let's expand. Let us expand and be creative. Start building more communities. Do you understand what I'm saying? We start building more communities, more squares, more recreational parks, where we say, hey, after Paul Kruger left, came these people in power. These people in power, when they came, they abused, some of them abused black people. Then that was what we call the apartheid. Then during that apartheid, raised some few leaders who wanted to make sure that there's balance in the system, so that there's a timeline. But removing and replacing, you're teaching the generation lies. Are you gonna say what? Black people, we did build those buildings like that? Did we build? We never built a union building like that. We never built it like that. We never. Our heritage, like every day when we go and dancing, wearing those things, and in the houses which are made out of mud, that's what you call heritage. That's what we knew. But now it's time to start building a heritage that we're gonna be proud. Even if it's a square, something that we design. Take children to school to learn best architects, so that they can build much better square than Paul Kruger. Why are you crying about Paul Kruger? Build a most beautiful Paul Kruger. You put anyone that you want to put there. If you want to put Nelson Mandela, you put Nelson Mandela. Any leader that you say, hey, we're proud. If you want to put Martin Luther King, you put Martin Luther King. That's what we call timeline of history. That's when you go to places like Israel, you find in places like Israel, there's a beautiful timeline of history, from where the pharaohs, from where when Jesus came, everything. It shows you timeline of mankind. It's building timeline of us, mankind, on this planet Earth. So I don't think it's a good idea. Honestly speaking, I don't support that. Like I always say, that we need to learn what we call tolerance. Tolerance is a big thing that plays a role in society. Like it says, tolerance is a good cornerstone on which to build human relation. That's what it says. Tolerance is a big cornerstone on which to build human relation. You get that way? It's in the Way to Happiness book. We say Way to Happiness book. It tells you that. So something like those are the things that we need to learn, and we need to how can I put this? Focus on. Because by dividing society and saying this, we're going to lose. Let me just give you an example. We're going to lose a lot of tourism. Tourism now, you're expecting to have a lot of tourism. I always see this guy, who is it, the tourism minister, is it Chifu or someone? I even know him personally. We used to meet, some of friends from the United States. We used to meet when we used to hang out together. I know him personally. Chifu, I always you see him on TV, stressed. He's talking about tourism. He will be talking about tourism and say, tourism is affected because of now there's many things. Now by removing some of this issue, tourism is going to be affected more, because same people that some of you don't want, you say they are white, they are the one that brings lots of money here. You will never get someone from Malawi coming to spend lots of money here to come in on tourism. People, when they come here, maybe it's from Malawi, Zimbabwe, he comes here to work. They will come here, the next thing is going to cause what you call xenophobia. They come here to work. That's why sometimes we've been in the truck saying they're taking your jobs and many things and that. They come here to work. They don't come here, they don't have time to come here and learn about Nelson Mandela or learn about history of what happened, anything colonialism. But if you focus, we build on tourism that we're talking about, people from Europe, Australia, China, when they come here, they come here to invest, not when they're looking at whatever they see, the rich heritage that we have. Some they even invest. Some they bring, by investing, they bring more people here to come and tour. Even myself, when I was overseas in the US, things that I've noticed that people, they know about South Africa, they know about Paul Kruger, they know about Nelson Mandela, they know about our diversity culture, they know about Shaka Zulu. If white people never came to Africa, no one was gonna know who's Shaka Zulu. But for us to know Shaka Zulu, because white people came, and then after they had their own misunderstanding, then there was a war between Shaka Zulu and that. You see, that's what makes life interesting. Even though I understand it left most of hard pains, might have made many people damaged. Same as World War One, same as World War II. It happens in life that things like that. It's like family. A family, they fight, a husband and a wife, the people they fight, things happen and things like that. It's normal. But us continuing having this hatred and saying, no, we want to remove this statue, we want to remove that, we're dividing society. We're trying to build society, guys. I don't understand some of you what type of education in books you read or how you want to better this world, but the way I understand it's like you just want to make things worse for yourself. You want to divide society, you want to make everything worse for yourself. You just want to break society. You want to break society and make it a very worse place for mankind to live in. Because all we're gonna be teaching our kids, it's gonna be a lie. Honestly, when they ask you where does Nelson Mandela come from, how did he become Nelson Mandela, what are you gonna tell your kid? Let's say you destroy all this history, Paul Kruger, Jan van Riebeeck, what are you gonna say? Oh no, Nelson Mandela is a man who just came out of the blue somewhere in Mundu, where he was living there. He walked the distances. The cars, we don't know them because we are black people. We don't know them. I don't remember first black people. We made our own cars here, so we don't know. So he walked all those ways with the ox, and then he decided like, oh, I like the land of Joburg. I'm going to stay here. Then I'm going to mobilize people from South Africa. Start the party. I'll call it, oh, a nice name, ANC. It's even English. How do I know English? Oh, then something like that. Then and then I'll mobilize. I'll tell the people, there's a book that I imagine, human rights book. Oh, it's from United Nations. What's United Nations? Come on, guys, be real. You need to be real. For us, for today to be today where we are, it had to have timeline. That's why some people like me here in South Africa, I joined a party called the Democratic Alliance. Why? Because people will evolve. Even young people, they start to see, hey, this government now, when it came, is failing us as people. It's failing our needs for this generation, and we need to evolve. We need to get in times where we know we're preparing ourselves, because like we hear sometimes on TV, they talk about aliens, UFOs. We're preparing ourselves about those things. Do our grandparents know about anything about them? Can we start preparing ourselves to build more defense forces for things like that for in future? Those are the things that we're thinking about the future. We're not thinking about the past. We're not gonna sit and think about the past that, hey, oh no, me, I just want to protect, thinking about, oh, this or this forever and ever and ever. For how long? We're thinking about forward. What is, oh no, I'm looking at flying cars. People who invest in flying cars, or if they are from Europe, hey, I'm with them. But for you to say you're going to cut them off, you're saying everything reminds you of those. Some of those colonial ancestors, those who comes to South Africa to invest, their ancestors, they're the one who colonized South Africa. People who come here invest BMW, Mercedes, and things that you say, and then when they invest, they create what? More jobs. More jobs is created. What? You are nice today, you post nice pictures. You have what is called Facebook now. You post nice pictures with Maserati, and you hashtag, you do the things like that. It's what? It was invested all the way from places in Europe, and the investor, some is in Europe, some is in America and Asia. You see, so you need to wake up. And those same people, some came long time ago here. Their ancestors came long time ago here, and they settled here. They might have one or two, three of those people who came as ancestors who never got along with black people. But it doesn't mean you have to paint all white people and say all white people are bad people. So you need to wake up. Because if you don't wake up, trust me, and you say you're gonna remove the statues, we will end up being like the rest of other African countries with nothing, nada. No one's gonna come here and invest. No, we won't have tourism. See the booming tourism that we are proud about. You say booming tourism, nothing. The same investors, same people who comes here for tourism, they are able to make great movies like Lion King. You see, when they come, they spend a month spending their money. People from America, they spend their money to stay in places like Paul Kruger National Kruger National Park in Mpumalanga, watching the animals, how the wild lives, the lions and everything. They come up with ideas to make movies like Lion King, Madagascar. You know those in Madagascar movie, those zebras which are talking, things like that. They create jobs. They make entertainment nicely. You need to think like that. You'll never come to someone who comes from Africa, he comes from Zimbabwe, he comes here, he doesn't have time to say, hey, I'm looking at how these animals, lions and this live, spend his money watching the lions and zebras. For him, it's time wasting, because he knows, hey, in my country we've got zebras and lions. Me, I came here to work and take money back home in Zimbabwe or Malawi, wherever he comes from. But white people, or any way you want to call them, whether they come from Europe or that, they learn. They bring new ideas of movies, things which create jobs. They stay there for the whole month in your hotel, paying in your lodges, watching these animals, how they live, what they do, paying and everything, investing back in your country. They make nice movie ideas. Again, it's a movie idea. So guys, I'm advising you, you need to watch out. Leave Paul Kruger alone. Leave other statues alone. South Africa is big. Start developing. Make new cities that you are proud of, that one day you will tell your kids that we started this city from nothing. Like the man who started the city of is it Abu Dhabi or Dubai. He started it from nothing. They even laughed at him when he started that city. It was just a desert. They thought, hey, this guy is making a fool of himself, a joke out of himself, but he made something out of it. So even you start thinking like that, make something out of that. We're adding on that, so that we're making even our culture more rich, because our culture is diversity. It's full of diversity. It's all about diversity. It's not just we say, hey, it's about, no, this is white people, or now this is black people. That's dividing. Already it's diversity. We already connected. We've got Indians, we've got colors, we've got many things. I'm sure even we do have Mexicans. I'm not sure. Maybe if we look carefully, we do have some of Mexican and Nathans who were born here. Maybe they're somehow their ancestors somehow they once walked here, and then they came and claimed some of their lands to be part of us here. So you just need to watch out. The other day I was in Botswana. I remember in Botswana going all the way to Francistown. That's what you'll be interested, you will like about history. While I was sitting inside the bus, I had the most beautiful story. The Botswana country, they were telling a story about how the Boers were coming to their land to how Boers came to their to their land to their land, how Boers came to their land, and then to take gold. They were mining gold in their lands during that time, and then because they are black people, they couldn't defend themselves. They had to go to England, and then when they got to England, and then they arranged with the Queen to get protection, and then they came. It was 3 kings. When you go to Botswana, it's even on their money. The 3 kings. You know, it tells a beautiful story of them, the 3 kings, and then it gives you history of, oh, okay, this. So everything it tells you for a country to be what it is today, for Seretse to be where he was today, is because what? If the Boers never went there to mine the gold and then make the Botswana people feel uncomfortable, maybe we're never gonna know about the 3 kings. Maybe we're even never gonna know any story about Botswana people. Maybe they will still be living their life somewhere in the bushes, continue with their kings doing what they were doing. But since then, they had to go to England. By going to England, England is another nation. They get introduced to new people, new cultures. The same new cultures, it promised to protect them. The son went there, the youngest went there to study in university later, and then when he returned, came back to return, then he came back, became the president of the country, knowing how to lead the country, learn how to lead the country, slowly developing the country. So that's why I said myself, be careful. You know, this thing of saying we want to remove, we want to do this, you're not being able to say, guys, we have a big land, let's start creating. Let's many things. Like the other day I was telling many people, a lot of people, that we've got other places like the Northern Cape, where we can create something like South African Vegas. You know, many other people, they can come. It can be a nice place, more job creation and other things, many things and cultures where we can even meet again in South Africans. You know, things like that. So guys, you just need to be careful. Because this thing of saying we're moving these people there, we're moving these people, is hatred. It's just hatred. You're dividing. The same people who are dividing, you're not going to be able to invest in the country to create more jobs. You know, but you're not going to be able to invest in the country again to help the country's economy become much better. Nothing. You just gonna pay, and then what? They remove the statue, what? And then you maybe you've got a little bit of that money, whatever money where you got it, you spend it. The poor people that you used, nothing. Some they going back to their cuckoos, nothing, no life. But to think of ideas that creates more jobs, the same people that you used to hold placards like that and say remove statues. No, think of ideas and say, government, let's create we take these people to colleges, let them be architects, let them be city planners, know how to plan a city. That say, okay, here's a city, we plan it, we work together, we are diversity people. Stop dividing and having hatred and say, when we plan that city, we want to prove, you just want everything to be built as black people. You are again, you are having a hatred, and you are having that anger thing in your thing. Black people, I don't know what's going on with some of you. I know it's not all of you, but some of you, I have no idea what's going on with you. But you need to heal. Just need to move on. You need to heal, and then you need to find a proper way of getting things. Don't need to try and use the, like someone say, the apartheid card is expired. Don't try and always use everything. You just say apartheid, apartheid, apartheid. It's apartheid's fault. No, come up with proper ways. If you want to proper ways, get educated. And then if you don't get educated, do right channels to try and improve. Do come up with the right ideas and say, city planner, here, how can we get investment? How can we want to build a new city? Whatever city where you can put your monuments, where you can do what you want to do. This already, whatever you do, I'm gonna tell you a nice story, man. What you're gonna do is gonna stay in your consciousness for the rest of your life. What you do, not whether you scream, whether you hit yourself, whether that, even the city of Pretoria, you change it, you name it Swine, what you did, whether you hit, whether it's that. This city, it was built by the old government. People here, even if you say no, they moved us and they moved our people. Yes, they moved your people, and the people maybe were staying. We don't have proof of where they were staying. Maybe it was those, you know, what we see in the hearts and things like that. But this, it's what is in the history of the books forever and ever. Anywhere in the world you travel, in any museum, this city, anywhere you Google, it's gonna show like that, those buildings. You never built that. Even if you change a name, even if you do that, you never. But be proud of what you say one day when a generation comes and say, this, when was built that, it was because after the apartheid government was moved, then we started being creative. We built this new city in this new location. There was nothing. We started the new city, which, look at it today. It's got statues, it's got museums, it's got all our heritage. A way we want. We even named it ourselves. We didn't have to sign any petition to say we want to change the name. We named it, the street names, we named them the way we wanted. That's what you do. So wake up, do the right thing. So this is Dion here, thanks for listening to me and watching me on my live video. Do the right thing. I'm out. I was just disturbed by what I saw there on the internet. What you said, that the negative things you said about removing the Paul Kruger Square statue, leave it alone. Build on. Let's create. Let's be better. Let's be better than that. Show that, hey guys, like you always say that if you say some of you say black people are creative and that, show us now. It's about time you show us, not by breaking down and stealing, because by breaking down and stealing and replacing, you're stealing. It's the same thing. It's like one man coming into your house that you built already, everything, and he wants to replace you and stay there and take over the house. That's what you said. No, start from scratch and show, hey, this is us here. That's us. It's us with this from scratch, this square. Even this building, we did it the way we wanted it to be, with the designs or our architecture. Children who were our architecture, who were, if maybe was raised in the village, wherever was raised in township or where, but here is his architectural work. And then with our own imagination, if you want to say your own African imagination, there we did it as we wanted. Because that, it was never your imagination. Paul Kruger, even if go and read that history, if some of you take time, check that statue of Paul Kruger on top. If you go around it, it's got black people. It shows how Paul Kruger and his people, they used to live. It tells a story, that Paul Kruger statue, of how black people, they used to live in their communities. How Paul Kruger, they used to, the governments of Paul Kruger and the black people used to be. Though by that time, it tells a story. If you look around it, everything shows you how law enforcement used to work, and everything, how they used to educate people in communities to be diversity, not to fear each other. It tells a story. Go and look at it. It's not a bad stage. Paul Kruger is never a bad person. It tells just a story. It tells a story. There might have been a few bad people or that, but it's like I said when I started this this live video. Like I said, for every country. For today, for us to be where you are, to have a human rights book, we had to have World War One, World War One, World War Two, and then World War One and World War Two created what we call United Nations. And then out of United Nations, we had to have many people like Gandhi and all those things. And today we have Ellen Rosenfeld, who created the Declaration of the Universal of United Nations, the book that today it protects each and every living being in this planet. So our job now is to teach those living people on the planet to know their rights, not be abused, things like that. The same people who were standing with the placard that's busy holding the placard that they was Paul Kruger statue removed, they must remember during the era of Paul Kruger, no woman in South Africa was raped, was murdered as like today things the way they do GBV and things like that. So you should have used that time that you were busy protesting to remove the Paul Kruger square, Paul Kruger statue. You should have used it, making that time, made it use of it to do something which is more important. Go out there talking about the gender-based violence that we see in society and coming with ways and ideas and educating the community on how can we end gender-based violence. And this thing of men killing pregnant women and women, that was what you were supposed to use that time for. Not use that time there sitting there. Paul Kruger during that time, he made use, Paul Kruger as, I think he was Prime Minister or President, he made his time on South Africa to make sure that no woman was abused by that time. There was no gender-based violence. You see, he knew what he was doing. You might say whatever you want to say about, but by that time, you will never hear. That's why your mothers today are alive. You will never hear even one man abusing their women or their mothers. So wake up. So now me, I'm out now, going to relax, drink water, going to do my cooking. I'm home. So think about it. Do the right thing for the world, mankind. I'm talking to you, South Africans, especially South Africans in South Africa, the land of South Africa. Talking to the global communities that if South Africa messes up with the heritage of South Africa, hey, you are the witness. I know the tourist industry is not going to do well anymore. Mr. Chifua, if you still remember me, wherever you are, tell them to do the right thing. Stay away from South African heritage, because you know you are the tourist minister and you want the tourists to boom. And for it to boom, all this, everything that we have, it tells South African stories. It's our South Africa is a timeline of South African stories. It's like the same way you go to Israel, it's a timeline telling stories of what's happening there. So that's telling our story. So we must not tell a lie. Don't want when my come and visit South Africa to get whole total story which is a lie. He must know that, or this, how did Mandela become Mandela? Tell them that no, the ancestors of Paul Kruger or this, when they came, this is what happened, this is what happened. Years came, people like Mandela were tired and they stood up for 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. That's how Mandela became Mandela. How did Shaka Zulu become Shaka Zulu? I must be able to answer those things, not give my son a lie. Thank you. Have a nice one, guys.